What is up, guys? Welcome back to Real Conversations. We're with our boy Captain Randy. We're with a new guest, Raphael. And,
Close friend. Close
very,
friend.
very
too.
close friend, yes.
Very close.
Co-worker, family member, you can say all of it.
Brother-in-law.
Yeah. Mother-in-law, everything.
Uncle.
He's everything to us.
Happy to be here. We are absolutely enjoying ourselves. Shout out to the Hilton. We are here because of the wonderful fishing show that is going down in this area in Schaumburg.
Fun event.
Yeah.
If you're local into the area, definitely stop by the Renaissance Convention Center in Schaumburg. Whole fishing expo going on, whether you're bass fishing, muskie fishing. Up north, there's a lot of different people guiding who are coming down here to like represent themselves, show what they can do. So it's a really cool opportunity. That seminar is going on, a bunch of different stuff you can do. Really, really cool to stop by. Make sure you stop by Anglers International to see Raphael, myself, and everyone else, and pick up some awesome fishing gear too.
Hell yeah. So any cool stories from the past couple of days? So I have not been there yet. I'll be
Yeah.
going tomorrow.
Are you a show virgin too? Have you never been to one before? Have you been to
No,
one?
I've been to the show, I think in 2019 was the last time I went.
Okay, so like the last one they had you on
Yeah,
too?
yeah. My dad and my uncle always take me to go.
That's cool.
That's like one of the things
I'm not
that
even
I
sure
really
if I've
miss
ever been to
from
this
COVID.
one before, honestly, because I used to go to the Rosemont one when I was like a little kid. But that one, I was talking to Casey too, because that's the one I thought we were originally going to, because it's like, it was huge when I remembered it as a kid. And then he's like, no, that show's like a piece of shit, like that's nothing. And I was like, what? Like I remembered it awesome. And he's like, oh, you must have went like way back when it was like, the Rosemont show used to be like the huge show, and now it's like kind of converted where I don't even know if they do the Rosemont show anymore.
I haven't even.
I don't think they do, but the Schaumburg show like just took over as like that big new fishing convention show. So it's I'm pretty sure it's my first experience. I might have gone to one maybe like a few years ago, but never like really took in the whole thing and like really experienced it.
This has been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun. I mean, we've only seen really the inside of Anglers International. We haven't really seen anything
We haven't
else.
really walked around that much. I mean, we kind of wander around. Yeah, in case not looking.
Yeah. Like I was telling Raphael yesterday, I was like, I always wondered what it would feel like to be a pack mule, and like now I know, like exactly what it feels like. We built that entire booth, like it was Dan's birthday, like nothing to him, like he was off on his birthday, but him and I, like we had to unload the truck that day, so like it was a lot of heavy lifting. I just feel like we've been living here, honestly.
It sounds like it.
I mean, I've been
Just
staying at the
talking.
hotel, like honestly, I have been living here, but
Right.
at the actual convention center, I feel like not even the convention center, that little tiny, not tiny, but our little square that we have our booth at, that's like my home.
Yeah, that's all we know for like yesterday it was like what 12 hours.
Yeah.
We were there 12 hours. That's all we knew.
Jeez. Dang.
And
Well-
we're open for 8.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
for real.
I'll have to break in. I'll have to break in Casey tomorrow when I come by. I'll be like, hey, I gotta take Randy and Raphael.
Yeah, he'll just slit your throat. We're not allowed to leave.
Damn. So you guys won't even get any time. to probably
I'm
walk
sure we'll
around
get
and
sometime.
stuff.
Like I've walked like a couple aisles, like we both have, like right by us, but
Any cool fish tanks or anything? Like
they
I know
have the
sometimes
one
they
big,
have that.
like the casting tank where they
Okay,
have the
sweet.
seminars. We've walked past it, but we never tell them about the walleye and the catfish.
Oh yeah, we're passing by and we're just like recording the tank because it was a sick tank, like seeing all the the bass, crappie, perch. What else had in there? Bluegills and stuff.
There's
like that.
walleye and catfish.
Walleye and catfish.
Those are the main two, the walleye and the catfish.
We were recording and I was checking it out. I was like, oh, it looks sick and everything. Recording, and then Randy was recording, and as soon as he stopped recording, we saw a catfish. And he was like, catfish was like swimming around. He was agitated, like really. I guess this is But then in the first time, so he's still very agitated. Kept like banging the wall and stuff, and then out of nowhere he turns and looks at just straight lines for the walleye, and the walleyes are just like, since it's very bright, they like try hiding every
Yeah,
corner
they're like tucked in
and like every lip of the tank, so they could like dark, and the catfish just V lines for him hard, and I was like, I think the guy's gonna try to eat him, and Randy's like, nah. So he stops recording, and then as soon as he tries to record again, the catfish
It's like
is
sucking on his head.
yeah, the catfish was sucking the wall's head. Yeah, like almost half whole his head.
Like up to his
Was
eyeballs.
it a channel cat?
Yeah, like not even a big one too. It's probably like that big.
Yeah.
And it was actually trying to eat the wall.
It had like up to his eyeballs in his mouth.
Like the catfish got like two like bites into him, and the walleye knew realized what was
He's like,
happening, and
what
just
the hell
backed
is going
away.
on, dude?
Oh my god, that is insane. Too bad you stopped.
And then I showed it to Dan too. I'm like, this is why you didn't see him on your live scope. Like when we were ice fishing, like there's nothing here. And then I caught the giant through the ice because like as you saw, like they were just flat to the bottom and tucked as tight as they could and not moving.
All
like,
fins tucked down, everything
Yeah.
just hunkered down to the floor.
Like
And every single crevice
like
they had.
assassins just like waiting there on the bottom.
Huh.
It was pretty cool. But everything else, like the bass, none of them. There's the one big one. Most of them are pretty small, like 2
It's
pounds.
supposed to be like a hog tank, but
It's like a dink tank.
Yeah, I think the biggest one there is like only like one pushing 4 probably.
Yeah, like when we were talking to like Nick and Brandon today, they were like, yeah, it's just like just go cast at these little 2-pounders.
So if anything, the 2 pounds probably like a pound and a
Yeah,
half.
honestly. But we were talking to them about that, which was kind of cool. Like that was one question I always had for people like casting in there. Like it's almost like the opposite of normal fishing, where like you're like casting out there, like, oh, I hope I get bit. Like you're casting out there trying to show people bait and how it works, and like you're hoping like, oh, I hope this thing doesn't get like slithered like down one of these bass's throats before like
Right.
they can even see what the hell it's even doing. Like
Right.
so, like, and they were saying that was true.
I have a crazy story about that. I was talking to the Nick, what's his name, Flores?
Yeah, so we have a guy working in our shop booth with us. Nick, I don't know how exactly to pronounce his last name, Corrales, something like that.
Yeah.
He's a Megabass sponsored guide up on Lake Ontario.
Yeah, sales rep now
Yeah,
too.
and he's working with us at the booth for this show.
But he was telling me that because the show the past 2 days, today and yesterday he did seminars and stuff. So he's like casting and tank, explaining stuff and different techniques and stuff. And he told me once that I can't remember what it was. I think a couple years ago, he was doing a seminar and they had one. He told me that they had one big rainbow trout in it.
Oh, really?
Like a massive one, he told me. And he's throwing a bait. I think it was like so similar to a kite tech. I think it's in paddle tail, but that type of bait.
Yeah.
And obviously they can't poke or anything like that, 'cause, PETA and stuff. But he told me that the rainbow trout just absolutely destroyed it, and it went out his fish's side ray, like because it passed outside his gills.
Oh, no way.
So the bait kind of got stuck, and the bait told me the trout was freaking out,
Oh, wow.
and it actually jumped out of the tank and,
No.
and landed on the floor in front of somebody's feet.
Oh my
And he said that was the first, like not the first show he did, but like it was one of the beginning ones, and he was just like freaked out and like, cautious.
Wild.
That's insane.
Like it jumped out and everything, and just landed on someone's foot. Like he said like he's gonna watch to take the bait out. The fish gills right to stop hurting it, and but they're able to put it back in the tank.
Really? I thought you were gonna say they like gave it to someone like here's your fillets, like buddy.
This thing's toast.
They gave out some reels today. I thought you were going to be like, they were like, oh, here's who wants some rainbow trout? Like,
So but I was like no way. Like, yeah.
That's
After
hilarious.
that, I was scared. I was a little worried about catching a fish and make sure to take the bait out before it eats it.
Yeah, no joke. Wow. That's wild.
damn, I was feeling bad for him too, because when I was talking to him about the tank too, I was like, you ever like get stuck on the side or something? And he's like, actually recently, he's like, I casted this one bait and like, I'm trying to talk while I'm casting and teach people about it, and like someone asked me a question like right before I was about to cast, and like I casted it out there and like was answering and like looked up because it didn't hit the water, and it was like wrapped around this little pole all the way at the back of it, and he's like just sitting there like just stuck on it. And I'm like, that's my biggest nightmare if I ever went up there to teach people. But oh my god, the trout's even worse.
Yeah, dude, that's wild.
Like all the little kids and like the families. Oh my god.
Screaming like, oh my
It'd
god.
be an awesome moment on video.
Oh my god,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you got
Like
that on
some
video.
security footage of that.
Oh, I should ask him what he did.
It's a sick story, though.
If he has any video of that. I'm pretty sure they record the seminars and stuff there to show.
Yeah,
You know, I'm pretty sure.
definitely someone has
Yeah.
that.
I'm gonna ask him.
Especially if it got all the way to the floor. Someone has a video of it on the
Yeah.
floor.
I'm gonna ask
If
him
we
to
find a
see that.
video any way possible, we'll pull it up right here.
Yeah, right? Send us it.
Yeah, if anyone,
Yeah.
or if we don't find
If
it,
you're at
send
the
it to
show,
us.
if you're at the show, send some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you know how to pronounce his last name, send it to us too.
Yeah,
The vernacular, or however you say it.
Sweet. Anything else about the show that we should talk about? Anything?
There's a lot of stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure even more will come up as we talk about other stuff
There's
too.
pickles there.
Pickles?
Yeah, some
Yeah.
some family owned business, I think it is.
Mhm.
And some they have like multiple, like there's like
It seems
stand.
popular. A lot of people have them.
Yeah, it's
A lot
like,
of
there's like a
people-
small, it's like $7. So it's like I think it's like a piece like little to go dish kind of thing.
Oh, no.
like homemade pickles. I think it is like
Sliced pickles then?
yeah, sliced pickles. It's probably have whole ones, but it's like sliced pickles. They saw like little jars, like little like clear thing to go containers out of it.
Sounds good.
They have jerky too, right next to
Okay.
the
Jerky.
jerky
Yeah.
booth too.
Can't go wrong
I
with
got some
jerky.
hot venison jerky. It was actually very hot, but it was good too. And
That's what's
my
up.
lips were on fire.
Yeah.
I had a piece of it stuck in my tooth. I pulled it out today, and my mouth was on fire again. I'm not even kidding.
They have a diet booth next to us.
Yeah. The
That's-
Daiwa booth looks like an Apple store.
Yes.
Like it's
Does
sick.
it?
That's like the
It looks-
pictures you were looking at
Yeah.
on his camera. We'll pull up
Their
one of
casings are so
They are.
beautiful.
They are.
So pristine.
We'll pull up one of Raphael's pictures
Yeah.
from the Daiwa booth here. He took some awesome pictures during the show. We'll post a bunch of those too. If anyone doesn't follow Anglers, I'm sure we'll put some on the Anglers
Anglers,
International
yeah.
Instagram too. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about at the show. I mean, I'm sure you'll have stuff to tell us tomorrow too when you walk around because we haven't even seen half this
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
That's what you should do when you go tomorrow. Like instead of like, I feel like most people that have come that know us, like they're like, oh, I want to stop at Anglers first. Like, do the opposite. Like, go fucking far away from us. Like, don't even
Okay.
be near us.
Well,
what's up.
Spend your time far away from us for a while and see
Yeah.
what you see, and then at the end, like, let us know what's cool, so we don't have to waste our time looking at all the bullshit booths. Too.
But
Yeah, it looks like before when we went there for the first day, we were setting up. We kind of walked around a little bit, but like, it seemed like more than half of the buildings like on the right side is filled with like boats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of boats where we came in.
that's kind of fun to look through.
And there's like some cool booths too, like some of like, I mean, not like crazy bait wise like brands that you know of, but I mean there's some like mom and pop shops.
Yeah,
that look like
I
they have
saw
some-
a couple of
yeah, it
guys
looked
that I
like they have
follow
some
on
cool stuff.
Instagram. They're they got a couple booths set up
There's a
there
couple
for custom cranks and
yeah, a
stuff.
couple of brands like there's the dart spin ones.
Oh yeah, Band of Anglers.
Band of Anglers. There's like the
We
trout.
know everything within like a 20-foot vicinity of
Yeah,
us.
but there's also,
to be honest.
there's also like that. What's that trout?
Oh,
trout
the
brand?
kids place. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, the trout brand is like G something. It's like blue, pink, and it's like a fish of a trout stuff splashing out of the water.
Oh, the floats that we have
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
The balsa, like the long, tall
Yeah.
float. What is that called? That's killing me now. It's not. I don't want to say G-rack because that's a bass.
Yeah, it's something G, right?
Yeah, something like that. It's
G
like
lure,
the
GC lure,
pink
or-
and like teal blue
Is it
and
GS
white.
lure? No, GS lure is those spinners.
No, it's not those. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. You probably have no idea what we're talking
Honestly,
about.
no. I
We're all
chip
like,
in.
for anyone who doesn't know, like we mentioned in the beginning, we're all close buddies, but we're all actually like work Eskimo brothers in a sense, I guess you would call it. Like we all we all work together, kind of, but not together. Like
Yeah.
we work together at Anglers, and they work together at Cabela's.
Yep. He's got 2 jobs.
Yeah, so he's
So
the
that's how
hardworking
it-
one. We're both the lazy ones.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's just a discount in both places. That's all it
yeah,
is.
he's the smart one. That's the
I'm
thing.
more
Yeah.
part-time Cabela's and part-time.
That's
Yeah,
what's
he's
up.
got it figured out. But I mean, definitely do that tomorrow. Though walk around the whole thing.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely do
Because
that.
then you can tell us, like, even if it's not like boring shit to avoid, like at least if they're running out of something, like go check that out before it's gone. Because I feel like I don't even know what to go look at first. Like,
That's what I was worried about with the Daiwa, the Pro Rex musky lures.
I mean-
worried that they're gonna run out.
we have them.
Oh, you do.
They don't have them. We
Oh,
have.
so they're just on display, and then you guys
Yeah.
want. So you guys aren't gonna sell out.
Same with everything. Like the
Did
reels.
you guys just buy a shitload of each color then?
Yeah,
So
we
you
have.
guys
We're the
won't
only
run
people
out?
at the show with them.
That
so-
is-
Yeah, they did. So I think
Daiwa is like selling for us. So like they're
Yeah.
talking to people, and then when they're
And
done
sending
selling
them
them,
straight to you.
and they walk over with them too, and they'll like help them out with
yeah,
stuff.
That is
reels,
so
rods,
sick.
anything.
That is so sick. Yeah, that's gonna be a cool experience. Yeah, I'm definitely buying one of those Pro Rex lures
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I mean, the show's
Kinda
been going really well.
else.
Like we've done a good job. I feel like we've sold a lot of stuff, but
I mean, the setup looks awesome.
we were
From
talking
what
about
I've
before
seen,
we
the
started with
pictures and
Al.
stuff.
Like Al, if you actually do watch this, the one thing we do need is better marketing. Like we need more signage. I feel like it's the one thing we actually really do need. Because like our booth is so awesome in the sense that people love it when they're there and they're like, oh, I want to go check out the coolest booth at the show, which is cool. But you also want that same person when they go home to not be like, oh, those baits we got from that place were sick, or from that Mega Bass shop was sick. Like you want them to go Anglers International and look at the card and realize it's in Palatine and go, and then you have a new customer too,
Right.
which is like so many people I've talked to. When you actually hand them the card, they're like, "Oh, this is in Palatine."
Yeah,
Like, what
like, I
do you
don't know. I know it's
Yeah.
Dude, I tell so many people.
And it's not
knows
anything-
about show.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how
No
many
one
people
knows about it.
don't know
No.
about it. Yeah. And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
I didn't even really know
I
about
mean,
it.
as a big fisherman, their shop is one of the coolest places you can go to in our area.
Honestly,
It's
like no like bias. It truly is.
It's
like,
a really cool place. And
Yeah, we check here like all the Japanese stuff with Mega Bass,
Yeah.
Daiwa. We push up Mega Bass and Daiwa a lot.
and it's not just like some of the other shops where that's all we carry too. Like we have a lot of other stuff too. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the basics that you need for bass fishing, catfishing, crappie, walleye, like all of that.
Trout, whatever you have.
And a lot of
you
the
need.
stuff you can't find at places like Cabela's or even a lot of other mom and pop stores. Like there's a lot of like unique, specific.
Well, I think it's because like a lot of the big box like Cabela's, Bass Pro, they're making it so much their own brand, and then the mom and pops are like kind of dying out. So like they can't really even afford to like buy the big name companies. So like it's almost like that big name companies becoming like independent sellers and like big online stores because that mom and pop can't even afford to buy it. So they're buying the cheaper stuff and just having stuff like that. And it's almost like we're in a weird void of like there's not that many shops like that. Like the hookup tackle in
Right.
Arizona is like a
Right.
similar type of deal, but
Yep.
definitely something different than you don't really see around here.
Yeah. I think it's a cool shop, and it's cool you guys got the website. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just excited to see what's to come in the future for
Have you been fishing at all?
sure. Just what we did on Monday. Just that trip that we
So
took on
you haven't
Monday.
gone since Monday
but
at
no,
all?
I haven't gone since Monday.
I'm itching.
I know.
I can't
I'm
live
itching
like this.
too.
I can't not fish for this long, honestly.
Oh,
And hopefully next week we got the ice.
Oh, we
dude,
got
for
ice, for
sure, man.
sure.
I was thinking about going Monday, and it's looking like.
Did I tell you my buddy John, shout out John Misco, he lives in Lake Geneva, they were already out ice fishing.
Really?
Yeah, not the whole lake's locked up, but they were been out multiple times already
Makes
too.
sense, dude. It's been cold.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
been
it got-
cold, and it's gonna stay that
Remember
way.
when we got to the hotel? It was open water when we got there and it was locked up when we left.
Oh, yeah.
One day,
Yeah,
like not even a day, like in the time span we were inside.
Really?
Yeah, open water and ice. I mean, not a very big pond or anything, but
But still, I mean,
just like a
it's
small
show,
body of
yeah.
water. It's just crazy that it actually went from almost completely open water to completely ice.
Right. It's bizarre.
I haven't gone fishing in so long, it's honestly killing me. Like it's the same reason like
Are we gonna go Monday? You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
But where are we gonna go?
I don't know. Do you work Monday?
Unless English has me on Monday, then I do it Monday.
If you're off, you should come with us too then. But
Check. I know I'm off Kabbalah wise, but I gotta check English. Might just unload all the stuff that you come to the show.
Oh, from Sunday.
damn,
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that too. Well, if we're able to, we should. I don't know, maybe pike. Try that. It might be. It's probably locked up too. Go do that too.
I have not stopped thinking about those stinking pike, man.
It's so much fun. I mean, if we can find. So the spot we were fishing, I was looking near it too, and there's a couple like, not open water spots, but like big water spots where it's almost like a break and not a whole marina, but spots where we could fish near it that might still be open water, even if we like ice fish in the morning and then try something like that.
Yeah.
So we could maybe do that.
Bet.
Some pike,
I'm with
something
it.
like that.
Definitely. We got some big beats to throw too.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited about that.
I'm probably gonna keep throwing the smaller ones.
Yeah.
Throw that Betsy.
Dude,
Yeah, you
that's
should
what
buy
I'm
one.
saying. I swear to God, I will. I want,
Yeah.
dude. I want to so bad.
It's about that big.
It'd probably be so good for this time of year too.
Oh my god, it's incredible. Like the whole design of the body is really cool on it too. Like, it's
I
like-
didn't pay attention fully. Is there a blade on the bottom?
that's like the best part about it too. There's no swivel, so it's like a kicker. So it's like hitting the body the
So
whole
there's
time.
it's not an O-ring, so obviously it locks out one way, it has to come out the other way. It's kind of like that.
Interesting.
What's that spinner bait that 10,000 fishing?
Oh yeah. The that's gonna kill me if I can't remember that.
Yeah, it's like
The
or like the 1,000.
Cyclone. Is that what? No, it's not the cyclone.
It's like 10,000 fishing, 10,000 fish whatever brand.
It's
They made like that spinner bait where it has like those chain links. So, but so it doesn't actually spin on
it's
swivel.
two split rings attached
Yeah.
attached to the
Okay.
blade.
So when it locks
barrel.
up,
Makes sense,
it goes
okay.
back and it has more
Yeah.
of a erotic motion.
Interesting.
Which is nice because I said most spy baits are just straight retrieve and
Right.
and do that. But so actually, well, that blade is gonna add.
It's three
Nice.
different ones too. So there's a floating one, a slow sinking one, and then a fast too. So.
A fast sinking one.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what water
What
color
kind of
you're
colors do they got? I saw
We have muskie, walleye,
bass,
bass, perch, and fire tiger. They're cool. I think they're all the same weight, or maybe around 2 ounces. They might vary.
I mean, the silk is fascinating, probably a little heavier.
Yeah, like, but I think they're all around like 2 ounces, relatively.
Sweet.
They're a really cool bait though. That little blade on the bottom is really the coolest part though, because that thing is making so much noise and so much flash. And I was saying to everyone I was selling it to, like, it's honestly, if you do any like river musky fishing, or if you're doing like Great Lakes, like ice out-ish type of water, like when you're allowed to be fishing for muskie and everything, obviously, it's a really good cold water presentation when it's accompanied with stained water. Because it's almost like going along the same lines of like throwing a flat side crankbait for bass. Like, you want that flash and you want the appeal of that bait with the reactionary aspect of that, but you don't want like an obnoxious, like erratic action on it. Like, you want it relatively like subtle as it's moving. So with that spy bait, you're almost getting that. Like, you're getting like a little bit of movement from it, but nothing crazy erratic. But you have all the flashing and crazy stuff going on it that's going to draw that same type of reaction bite from the fish then too. So it's like a almost really unique place for that bait, and I can't believe like the bass people are probably going to catch on that too. Like, giants.
Yeah, we keep talking about how about the bait looks.
Yeah.
But I did take pictures of it, so I'm gonna be sending to you guys so you guys can post
Yeah,
the
we'll pull
video.
up a picture.
So you can see, because I took my camera to the show, tried to take as much pictures of baits, reels, because there's a Daiwa booth, also like an Apple store, so like the lighting on it was immaculate. So I took a couple photos of the reels as well. So we got that, so you actually know what the Betsy was looking at, because we're just kind of describing it there.
Yeah, now
It's called the Betsy, right?
Yeah, Betsy.
Yeah, man, I love
Bessie.
that name too.
Bessie.
Bessie,
Really?
okay, Bessie.
Oh, Betsy.
Yeah.
E-S-S-Y.
I thought it was T in it.
Okay, so
Is
either
it?
way, I still like it. Bessie's sick.
I'm pulling it up right now. Keep talking.
Betsy or Bessie, I like either one.
I'm not sure. Now I'm really doubting myself to be
My
honest.
buddy named his Jeep that in high school, so that's why.
Betsy?
Yeah, his Jeep was named Betsy.
Bessie, yeah.
Oh,
Betsy.
this is a B-E-S-S-Y?
So here, let me read what this says. My signal's not that great, but the start of it says, inspired by the story of Bessie or Lake Erie monster, this
Oh, Loch
bait
Ness
is
Monster.
designed. No, it's not the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
That's what Rick was saying, our Daiwa rep, but now I realize just by reading this first sentence, he's wrong.
I thought Lake Erie is it was
Lake Erie's not where the Loch Ness monster is. That's in Europe, isn't it?
I thought.
But
Yeah,
Lake Erie, what's that?
Lake Erie's the Great Lakes.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
not.
shit.
That's right. Inspired by the story of
I
Bessie.
thought it kind of sounded familiar. Also, it sounds familiar because it's around here.
No, but that means Rick is wrong though, because it's
You're gonna
not.
have to call him out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him. I call Rick.
Because I just thought because they call Loch Ness. Oh no, they call it Nessie. That's why.
Nessie, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Nessie is the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, that's
and
why.
they wanted to call it that or something like that, right?
I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
we
what
will
I
have to
thought-
call
that's
out
what I
Rick
thought.
tomorrow in general, just because he's an idiot. Like, shout out Rick, our Daiwa rep. I love him. He's a good dude. He's at the show. His booth is right next to us. If you go over there, ask for Rick. He's an awesome guy.
Big hookup.
He'll set you up really good. But yeah, he's an idiot.
Getting that rod is all I care about.
It says this bait is designed to help you take on the rigors of muskie fishing. Designed for trophy muskie and bass. The Daiwa program.
Dude, that thing in ponds is going to go crazy.
Imagine how many weeds you could catch with that thing. There's so many moving parts.
It's one side as well, like that big.
Perfect for like ice out, maybe.
Yeah, it would be. It would be a cool bait to throw in Lake Michigan, honestly. That's what I was like when I was selling it to people today. I was saying that.
Smallies would probably smoke that thing.
I don't know. Once you see it in person, it's big.
Yeah.
It's really big. It's like that.
Yeah, I'm
big.
just like 8 inches
Yeah.
or bigger.
Man, I have a feeling those Lake Michigan smallies would be eating some big baits.
I don't know. They eat so many. They
Curious.
do eat big baits because they're big fish, but they just have such. I don't know. They eat gobies so much too. Like the small presentation is still good, and gobies do get big, but you're still talking like big in the
5,
sense
6
of a
inches.
5-inch spark shed or
Yeah, dark
something.
sleepers too. though.
Yeah, shout out Nick, our Megabass guy again. Like he's awesome at selling those spark shed and the hate. I actually found out something new too. It's not Hazdong.
Is
know
it
what?
Hazadon?
It's just Hazdong.
Hasdon?
Yeah. And I also
Is it?
were you with me when we learned all the new what the codes mean for the? I don't know if I'm supposed to. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just normal information. What the codes mean for the the jerk baits, the 110s.
What do you mean codes?
You know, it's like GLX, PM,
I thought just like the
OB.
the groups of colors like it's like because we have like GB or
If
something.
you know this, then I feel like an idiot because like
I thought just like they different, like 'cause I think there's a one customer who came by looking for like GG.
Yeah.
Because there's a GG Tennessee Shad, GG Killers, something like that. I just thought it was like the because that one I
Like
know
the grouping of those baits.
yeah.
It's like what the color is. It's like what the color consists of. So like matte is one of them. So like if you know the ones that have the matte logo on the front of the 110 packages.
There's a mat on it. Yeah.
And on the like the SKU code it says MAT. So like the same thing as like the Ito or like
Yeah.
the GG or whatever. That it correlates to a color scheme. I never knew that though. I didn't know it was like if it starts with OB, it's the most obvious one. It means orange belly, and then the GLX is the glitter. So if it has the flake in it, it starts with the GLX. And then there's the PM. The PM is the one that's the pearl something. I forgot what it was called, but it's the one that has like a iridescent pearl belly that starts at the gills and it goes back towards the tail. There's Ito, which it has like that reflective sheen paper. Like it's not actually the paper, but it has that coating on the inside of it. So all the ones that start with Ito have that inside of them. So like you can figure out like a bunch, like cause some of them have combinations and stuff, and like so that you can figure out like what the bait is then too by that code. And that's what Brandon was talking about today. And like he was saying like it's like I never even knew any of this. When the first one he started with is OB orange belly, I was like I feel like an idiot. That's so obvious, and I never even put it together. Like every OB has an orange belly. Like I'm like so
Who told you
stupid. Brandon Polaniak. Yeah. Also, that's I don't even think we mentioned that since we started talking too. It was cool. We got to meet Brandon Polaniak, 2-time Angler of the Year. He was working with our booth.
I was sorry about that.
Yeah, he does it
Yeah,
like.
let's hear it, brother.
So
No offense to Brandon
yeah,
Polaniak
no
whatsoever.
offense
like,
or any of the was it
like the Bass Circuit or
yeah, Bass,
anything.
what's that BLM or
Black Lives Matter.
the Bass tournament thing. Oh, BLB?
Bassmasters or
Yeah, but there's an abbreviation like BLB or something.
like that.
BYOB?
Huh? I like that one on tournaments. They have like the abbreviations for like the
For whatever tournament.
Oh, I know what you're talking.
I
Yeah,
got you.
Yeah.
so whatever it is.
Yeah.
Go on, Brandon Polaniak.
Yeah, so I don't watch tournaments at all. I mean, I'm gonna watch like clips here and there
That's
on
kinda
YouTube
how
and stuff like
yeah.
that. I don't the tournament's on, like
Right.
like football,
I feel like that's like a southern thing. Like I
Yeah.
think it'd be so.
I mean,
cool
there's a
to
lot of
be-
people around here. I think it's too when you get like into tournament fishing, like you get into watching tournament fishing. Like
Yeah.
I've like when I've
My
tournament.
dad watches it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's usually old heads that I've seen that watches the tournament like
And it's like
religiously.
it's like golf too, where it's like if you're a golfer, like you watch the golf tournaments because you enjoy it, and it's like when in the past, like I've never fished like any big tournaments or anything, but when I was into tournament fishing more than I am now, like I followed it way more.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
even though I wasn't
You're
on the
really
same
into it?
circuit or series, like I was more invested into it because like I was doing the same type of thing, but I was tournament fishing, so like
Right.
it was fun to watch it and enjoy it. And as I've like grown and I feel like expanded and like not really focused so much on bass fishing, want to do so much more multi-species, I like kind of stopped following it so much. Like the big names like his, I definitely know, but like
Right.
not specific events or like what he's been recently accomplishing. I
Right.
just know like when I hear his name, like oh he's
a well-accomplished fisherman.
he's like a stick, like he's really really good. Like, but I wouldn't recognize him or like
Right.
talking to him, like pick it up right away. Like oh this dude who's a hammer. Like
Right.
I need to talk to him more. But anyway, go on with your story.
Yeah. So my story was like, so I did not recognize them, or honestly knew about them, my friends. And I came up to him as a customer, like an employee to a customer. I was like, oh, you need help finding any baits and stuff like? He's like, no, I'm just browsing. I'm like, oh, just let me know if you need help. And and right before I left, I'm like, oh, do you work for Daiwa? Like I saw him at the Daiwa booth and stuff, so I thought he was just like a regular employee or something like that, like or maybe like cause they had a couple like elite fishermen there too and stuff like that. Like what's his name?
Ishman Rowe.
Ishman.
The guy who's like the river to sea spinner bait. He makes the what's it called? The river to sea frog. I don't know how I can't remember the name of that.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but
Yeah,
it's some
some-
Supercino or whatever.
Yeah, super famous bass fisherman as well.
But yeah, so I seen a couple of them, so I thought maybe he was maybe one of those, like, like one of these local circuits and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, you work at Daiwa? He's like, like, no, I work for basically Daiwa, X Zone, Mega Bass, Seagar, and like and just listening to all these brands. I'm like, oh, then you're all set on bait, right? And he's like, yeah. Yeah. I was like, all right, just let me know if anybody. And then that's when I walk up, and then Casey and also Randy and Matthew, which is Matthew's another coworker of ours. He came up to me like, Matthew's like, did you go say hi to Brandon? I'm like, who? He was like, Brandon Pellinig. I was like, who that is? I don't know who it is. He's like 2-time bass master of the year, and I was like, oh. Nice for him. He's like, I actually didn't know who he is, and I'm not the type of person that like after finding out who someone is, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna kiss their ass. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I hate. Like I hate people like oh, like, they don't know who you are, and then as soon as they find out you're famous or something, yeah. They find out you're famous or something, like, oh yeah, who are you? Yeah. You know, and then no idea. Like I find out like I'd rather be real, not like know who
like
you are.
almost like to become friends with them too. Then like
Yeah.
just like how we like almost just talk to them, be a normal person. Then
Yeah,
too.
like that's what like I would like hate someone to like not know who I am and then like bullshit like, oh, you know, hey, that's not who you are. Like I hate that. I feel like very fake. I rather be with some real someone. Like, if I don't know you,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know you. Like no offense, but I just don't know you.
Exactly.
It's just being more like you're being honest, like
Right.
exactly like we talked about. Like it's no offense to him or anyone like that. It's literally just like the honest thing. Like you haven't watched it, not as exposed to it. Like you don't have it in your life as much, so you're not gonna react the same to someone who's like, oh, I love this guy. I follow everything he does. Like you're not gonna be the same way, obviously.
It was funny because I was talking to Matthew about it. He's like I'm gonna feel bad. Like I don't know, like felt bad. I guess like you know how I didn't know who he is and stuff like that. But Matthew's like, I was like honestly, like Matthew's like he might even like appreciate it because he's like how many people go up to him and ask him like I mean granted, you know, like he's 5 years, so like he's just help get people to come up to him stuff like not once in a while to get somebody that doesn't know who you are and talk to you normally. Like I feel like I feel like if any
Wrong way.
one way.
Probably gonna make your own way. That song goes hard. All right, should we start?
Yeah, we got
Explain
cut off
on it,
again.
yeah.
We got
Explain
cut
on it.
off again, but we're back to it. We are going to carry on where we left off. So,
Raphael brought up an awesome point like right after we got cut off, so we'll start there. So
Yeah.
he brought up a controversial topic.
Yeah, opinion. I say that, I'm not discrediting any of the bass masters and stuff like that. John, was it?
Brandon Blaney.
Brandon, yeah, call him John. See, my bad.
okay.
But
Straight offensive.
I feel like a lot of tournaments, like even fishing in general, I feel like a lot of it is luck. Because honestly, you could drop. Like
Say the point you said before, like if we all go out
oh
there.
yeah, if we all go, because we've gone to Milwaukee before, and like like oh, what are you throwing? Fishing ready because he's lucky. but like, I think obviously you gotta know what you're doing as well. So it takes some skill, but obviously because like I was someone who like could never throw a jerk bait before, they're not gonna know how to use it. Like kind of like a person who has used the jerk bait before, you know.
Like you have to have an idea.
So you have an idea, but like I think a lot of it is luck. Because like, obviously you could throw this, like it's like how you go fishing one day, get skunked, and not in one day you don't. Like I feel like that. It's like you throw the same, we fish the same way, because that day
You're just not biting.
there's no bite or there's no
you're
luck,
just
you
not
know.
where the fish are.
Yeah. So a lot of it's like luck.
Right.
So that's why I feel like I don't watch tournaments and stuff. That's why I don't know who those guys are. I mean, I have respect for them because obviously they catch fish or they're based off their business. They're all the person themselves is their business, you know. Which I respect that highly. You know, like you're making yourself a company and like you're loving what you're doing and stuff. I highly respect that.
But
So-
the skill luck aspect is
yeah, but I feel like for tournament wise, like one obviously Brandon did win. Brandon got it right. Brandon did win twice a year.
That's the first point I was trying to bring up.
Yeah, they did it
Because I
twice a
disagree
year.
with what he says, which is why I also think it is a really good point. Because I think there's a lot of people that agree with Raphael that fishing has a huge aspect of luck, but I personally disagree. But anyway, go on.
Because like he did the two, might be luck, but like I said, like some tournaments, one person that everybody expects to win, sometimes gets fifth, So like I said, like some of them, like there's some like bass masters there. some are better than others. People might say, oh, well, this guy's way better than this guy.
Right.
But this guy somehow ended up being in 5th place or something like that. You know, sometimes they have bad days, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what at times it's luck too. Obviously they have skill, but like it's luck, you know?
Like, do you think like more of them, like they have more like universal skill at that level, and like it's just lucky depending on that day then? Or
Yeah,
who's
'cause
fish that lake more then? Like,
I mean, you might know if I fish that lake one, but I was to say like there's been tournaments where I watched some clips and like some guys like, oh, I practice this spot. Like they have some days to practice a lake, you know, before the tournament. You know, they allow that and stuff like that. And some of them like, oh, you know, like in my practice this spot was hidden, but then when they go there, it's no fish. You know.
Yeah.
You know, they throw the same baits they're using to catch that same bait, the same bass, nothing that day. They go on tournament. You know. So I feel like also it's like luck. I mean, obviously there's like, the luck involves, you know, swimming motion of the bass and stuff like that. There's
how
like,
you're fishing the bait.
yeah,
and all
like
that.
if they travel into different parts of the lake at that time and year,
Yeah.
you know. So that's what involves it. But I think a lot of it's luck. Because obviously, if you post a spot that if somebody's like, oh, that spot is like horrible for fishing, like nobody fishes that, and you go for it and you catch bass, it can just be luck too, you know.
Right.
So I feel like at some point, obviously, there's like they all have skill, but I feel like a big part of it
But
too is luck.
majority of it's luck.
Yeah.
See, I
do you
think
think, Grant?
I think you're right for like the lower half of the pool of people. I think those people who place, like if we're talking about tournament fishing, let's say if just for example you have a tournament of 200 people, that last 100, maybe even a little above that, the last 150 people out of those 200, they have majority luck of where they place within that for the most part, and they could even strike the luck where they place out of it. But those 50 people at the top are dialed enough and have enough skill and know enough that they are 99% of the time not going to drop out of that. And they are going to be consistent enough to always be competing for a top level. It's almost like if you look at an NFL roster, like you have hundreds and hundreds of practice squad guys across the league who will play long careers. They'll play 6-7 years, make tons of money, and be able to tell everyone they meet, oh, I was a professional football player, I played in the NFL. No one's ever heard of their name before, but the guys who are consistently at the top of the game, there's something that they have that you can't really attribute to luck, because luck doesn't happen that often. Like, it's almost, in my vision of it, is the same sense of sports. It's like, you get good enough at something where you start creating your own luck. Like, you realize stuff and you're not just following patterns, you're creating your own patterns. Like, this is some of the stuff I was talking about with like Nick and Brandon, like is instead of like looking at baits as like, this is what you should throw here, is looking at why am I throwing this here? And when you start looking at stuff like that, I think you start getting at least on the track of becoming an angler like that, because then you understand why the fish are biting the bait the way they are, and you know other people who are at the same level as you also understand that. So now you're almost thinking like a step ahead of that is, well, if they're biting it this way, why are they biting it this way? And what's another way I can make them bite the same type of bait, but in a different presentation that no one else is doing, or a different color, a different weight, a different size. Like, thinking like, it might still have to do with luck on the exact like placement of your bait on a single cast, but I think you're creating your luck in the sense of like, you're putting yourself in such an optimal position every time you go fishing, and even to the point of like a cast, even like something internal, because you've done it so many millions of times, like you might not even recognize it like in your head consciously, but something subconsciously when you look at a spot is like, I need to put my bait right there. And like, the odds have it, some people might call it luck, is that big bass is right there. And like, I definitely think there's a lot of people, you'll never change their mind that person just keeps getting lucky, that why it's there. But I think there is a big part of it, in my opinion, it's that person's getting lucky because they put themselves in such an optimal position to get lucky. Like, they know what to look for, what to do, and what to do differently to like make sure it's like a prime. And I'm not even like saying like every professional bass fisherman or every person I know that's good at fishing. I feel like it's honestly like a really select few group of people that like just naturally have it, but it is definitely something you can acquire and get better at. And when those people who naturally have it, I just feel like that's that person who's just always on top. Like, the Brandon of like the bass fishing world. Like that's someone who's like he has that it factor and he gets it. So like it's a combination of both where it's like yeah, there is always luck involved, but I feel like the people who are at the top of it, it's like it's almost the opposite of what normal people want. Like normal people, if you talk to someone fishing, like they're like, oh, good luck. Like I hope you have good luck out there. It's like I don't want luck. Like I want to be doing it because I know it's what's working. Like I don't want to have any luck. Like if I need luck when I'm fishing, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I think even though I'm not a bass fisherman too, it's like it even matters more. Like I really do appreciate that out of bass fishermen is that it is such a level playing field in a lot of aspects, whereas you have to be able to like create your own luck like that too. Like Sean, like we talked about, like from Cabela's, like I think he has that. Like just from doing things so many times, that he has like he knows exactly what he needs to do.
Yep. No, I think that's like. Well, what do you have to say to that? Do you think that was pretty well thought out, or what do you think?
Even Cap, I understand. I understand like you know his points and shit.
But I think there is like definitely a luck aspect.
One kind of argument is like there's been times where like it might not be like the major leagues, but there's like say local like derbies and stuff like that. Or I think I've heard stories about like in major leagues, some like major leagues, probably not the televised ones, but you know like openings and stuff like that. Where there could be you know obviously there's like hundreds of fucking nice bass boats and like all these guys decked out and sun shirts of all these like you know sponsors and stuff like that. And there's always that one, like there's always those stories.
Some bumpkin.
Yeah, like you always hear those stories like a couple kids, like newbies on a fucking flat jumbo with nothing on, no deck, nothing, ends up winning the competition or like.
So you think a couple out of the 50 in the top are sometimes a fluky like.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
There could be like out of those bass boats like there could be I heard stories like teenagers on a 12-foot jumbo with a Troy motor,
right.
you know, like either getting high up in the rankings or even winning some,
right.
you know, and like obviously they don't have the same set of skills as the top ones, but they still end up, you know, getting luck, you know, because obviously they don't have the same years experience and stuff like that as the elites and stuff,
right.
But you know, by chance or luck they catch big bags and. You know,
I think that even happens like in like fun fishing too, like non-tournament fishing. Like you have like someone who goes out who's like maybe not the best at it, and they catch like a giant.
Like,
yeah.
That's what my argument is like you can't say that you know you winning those is like are like for their skill because obviously those guys at least have like you know years of practice on the lake or whatever. They know what works stuff like that. But like describe how those guys won. Like you need to tell me those new guys have the same experience as these guys, like then they don't have the same knowledge or stuff like that. So what's the difference?
No, I think that's valid. Yeah.
So it almost shows too, like with your point, like I agree with what you said. And
but they're not going to be the ones that's making a living.
No, but and it proves the point too
they're
that
the
like
ones
what
that
makes you a good fisherman is like the consistency of those fish you catch. Like exactly like what you were saying about Nick. Like he got trophy smallmouth, not dink smallmouth. Like and he's confident enough in his skills to only put people on those trophy fish, like, and that's really what separates people. Because I think there's a lot of people who view themselves as good fishermen because they've caught a couple good fish in their life, and they're able to say, "Oh, I caught this 6-pounder here," and like, it's an awesome fish, sure, but that truly has zero correlation to you as a fisherman. Like, if you're telling me, "Hey, I figured out this thing. I go here every year and I catch 6-pounders," like. That's impressive to me because you figured out something as opposed to like, oh, I go out fishing 6 times a year and like out of the 20 years I've done it, this one year I ended up to hook this one fish. Like, and I think those are the fishermen who fish like that too, who end up like not the way you viewed it, but they view fishing entirely by luck then too. They're like, oh, this guy who's really good, he's just so lucky when he's out there too. Like they don't really view it as much as a skill, but it's like I think it's that consistency of catching that fish that really makes.
What you do agree on that? Like, cause I was like, I mean, I'm not like discrediting anybody, but I'm not saying like the events are based purely on luck.
Right.
Because like also like, to me it kind of like, you know discredits the event a bit because like obviously you don't see the NFL and they're pulling somebody from the gonna stand and there be the the quarterback, whatever, running back.
Yeah, like even this year, like if anyone follows the NFL, like Brock Purdy on the San Francisco 49ers, Mr. Irrelevant, last picked in the NFL draft, and he's playing in the NFC Championship game this weekend. Like,
What's up?
that's like, there's a lot of people out there that call that luck, and there's a lot of people out there that say that dude's just a dog. Like, he's just the
His ass
dude.
off
Like,
and just
yeah.
happened to be there at the right time.
And like, it's the same thing with fishing too. I think there is a lot of hidden, like just like that too, like Mr. Irrelevant in the draft. Like, there's a lot of people out there. Like, I know people, like we mentioned him in the last podcast, like Eric Beat. Like, his name is growing. People, more and more people are knowing him. Like, he, like bass fishing wise, tournament wise, huge names he has connections with. But like nationally, like his name's obviously not something that people know, like a Brandon Polaniak or something like that. But,
Someday.
yeah, but exactly my point. Like, not to compare him to anyone,
Right.
but I feel like he has that same type of it factor in him that like Brandon and like those guys have. Like, from fishing with him and talking a ton with him about how his mind works about fishing. Like, there's a lot of people out there that people don't even know about, like, who have that in them, who, like, no matter what they're going for, they're going to catch fish, and they're going to not just catch them, it's not going to be luck. Like, he's truly going to understand why he's catching that fish, and if he's out there, we're out there struggling, like, he's going to get that point of why we're struggling and what to do to fix it, too. Like, there's so many people that just fly under the radar. And then the complete opposite, too, from some of the people we talked to at the booth. Like, there's some complete bozos in the fishing industry, too, as the show's made me learn.
That is true. It is very, very true.
And like the stubborn too, like not even bozos in the fact of like, oh, I don't really know that much, I want to learn.
I think the biggest bozos are the ones that just aren't open to learning more.
Yeah.
They think they know everything when it's like the people that are really in this, I feel like just know that this is an ever evolving sport.
Yeah, like
This
I'm
is
not
something that
gonna throw anyone under the bus. Obviously, Raphael will know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, there's a couple guys today who are very, very overly particular about some of the stuff they're buying, and like to the extent where it's ridiculous. So like, I get they're trying to get like the best deal, the best value for their money, but like some
Like,
people
what
just
kind of questions were just like, or what kind of things were they looking for that was just like
like it's a huge wide like.
No,
If there's not
Like there's a
specific
bunch of
example,
different
it's not
idiotic.
like-
There's different type of questions. Like, there's some that are just dumb, some are just rude.
Yeah.
Like some customers where like, oh, do you have like they say the name and model, everything. They don't say that. They don't say the brand. They just say, oh, do you have this and a specific bait and never heard of it. I'm like, no, I don't think I've ever heard of it. And they're like, oh, it's Japanese bait. Like it's, that's why I was like, oh yeah, like
Or the opposite too.
Yeah.
They'll come up to you and they'll be like, "Oh, I need a bass bait," and I'll be like, "Great, look around. Like, there's tons of them." He goes, "No, this guy showed me over there," and I was like, "Where?" He's like, "At this booth." And I'm like, "All right, what did it look like?" He goes, "Blue." I was like, "Okay, what did it do?" He goes, "It was like moving in the water and stuff." Like, all right, you're really helping me out here, buddy. And like, we eventually got to it, and it was like some soft plastic bait, but.
At times, like they're describing horribly and trying to figure out where it is, and as soon as if you show something wrong what they're imagining, they get upset. They oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like I've been at
And
store.
they kind of discredit you.
Yeah, I've been at Cabela's, not really at Anglers, but more Cabela's I've had where like the customers like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, I can't stand it.
You
I
know?
feel like that happened even like when I worked at Cabela's. Like I experienced that way more at Cabela's. I almost feel like coming into Anglers, a lot of the people come in there for advice too, so it's a little different. But
Which is nice. I feel it's a very Cabela's thing. Like a lot of like the older heads there, they
They're pretty snotty.
yeah, and
Sometimes.
they
Like
go.
if you don't know what they're looking for in particular, like
They
you're on
get
their
upset.
shit list. Like
yeah,
like every time.
get the
I see
fuck
you-
out of here, bud.
Yeah, like all right.
I'm
where's
looking
your other-
for the Hinkle
where's
McDinkle
your
in a
coworker?
blue colored
Yeah.
Sherbert yellow. And he's like, "What was that?" He's like, "Get the fuck out of here! I'm not talking to you anymore, buddy." Like I was like, "All right, sorry, sir." Like,
No,
I'm clearly not good enough for you.
I've had it just at Cabela's. I remember one time that I never really get heated at people at all. Like if I feel like if I'm pissed at you,
I'd say you're one of the most mellow people.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
It's hard for me to imagine you even being mad.
Yeah, because for me, like
Yeah.
I'm the person like doesn't believe in like I feel like hate. like a strong word. I know some people say, oh, it's very, very
No, I feel that.
gimmicky, but it's like for me to hate somebody, like that's like it has to be like a bad. Like you get to you get to
What he stole from me.
Is there a
what he-
customer you hate?
Oh, there's one. I cannot. If I see him again, I'll probably punch him in his face. It might be like a little harsh thing to say, but there's one time where he was either he's like Polish or like Russian or something like that. So like his English is like not that good, which I try to help a lot of people do with that, because like obviously me and my parents are Mexican stuff, so obviously their English not the greatest, so I really understand.
You're more
that.
understanding.
Yeah, I'm understanding of they can't, they don't really speak English that much, I try to understand, help them out and try to break down and check what they're saying, to be very helpful, because I understand it from my point of view.
Yeah,
You live it,
Yeah.
So it's I'm always on the easy with them. I don't get oh great another so I see some people another non-English speaking something else.
No, yeah.
So I try to help him, but this guy, oh my god, he was just not giving time. He was planning a combo he wanted, he wanted rod and reel. He wanted not combo already set, but build one. And I think it was for salmon.
Yeah.
I think it was for salmon, trout, and I tried to explain to him because he asked me, oh, what do I need for this? For salmon. I'm like, okay, I'll show you. I show him everything that I knew about salmon, and what even other people use, and just completely discredited me. And as soon as I showed him, he looked at me like I told him that throw his kid in the water for me. He just looked at me with almost look at me like I was stupid. And I noticed when we looking for something else. It's like, this is not right. It's like, and the one thing that pissed me off is he's like, oh, can I talk to somebody who actually knows about fishing?
Did he really say
Yeah,
that?
it's like I talk to somebody else. I don't want to talk to you.
You should have just pulled down your pants and just fucking turned around. There you go, buddy.
He's like, I want to talk to somebody who knows about fishing. He's like, you don't know. I'm like, I just walked out. I'm like, all right. And then after I just left him. And then I just see him walk out later with a rod that's
Nah, for salmon.
no,
Catfish rod.
Got the noodle rod.
it looked like he had a fucking crappie chicken rope pole, which is 12, 13 feet, and a big ass reel. And I was like, all
Does it
right.
say Cabela's or Anglers?
Cabela's.
Yeah.
There's even more bozos at Cabela's.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of sounded like a Cabela's story.
We did a lot of foreign people you're talking about at Cabela's, but they're honestly weirdly very dialed foreign people. They're you don't have this very specific carp thing, you idiot. I feel like they know more what they're coming in for than I do sometimes. They're not the type of person like that where it's just some ignorant asshole coming in. It's more of just confusion of I don't know what you're looking for. I've never heard of that.
Do you guys get the crazy customers that come in that are obsessed with the JDM, really expensive high end?
Yeah, we have
finesse stuff and all that kind of.
We have a few high end customers that come in pretty often that spend a lot of money. We have a couple of cool customers too, a couple famous guys that come in that are cool to shop with. But Frankie is a cool one.
Yeah,
he's probably the coolest. Is there anyone else that shops at the shop that's pretty cool? I mean, there's a lot of cool guys, but not noteworthy enough. There are other people in them. There's a lot of dope guys that come in.
I can imagine. It's a sick shop.
Connection wise, I like it even better than Cabela's. I love Cabela's for connections fishing wise, and it's weird too. I've met so many people at anglers where they're like, "You gave me your number at Cabela's," and I'm like, "I did? I don't even remember that." But I've made a couple cool connections. The guy who gives us, not Ed, but the guy who gives us all of our bulk tungsten. Mm-hmm. That guy. I met him at anglers or at Cabela's because he wanted to do bass and bass tournaments together, and then he was dropping off lead for us, and I was like, wait, I know you.
I met high end customers both jobs at Cabela's. I met John B. He passed by one time. I met
Cabela's or
Cabela's, yeah. And then
or Perrick too. I've heard about that.
Perrick one's
cool opportunity. Get to know him a little bit better, become a little bit friends with him.
He stops by a lot, anglers. Just because he lives around here.
Alex does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he obviously lived around here before,
Yeah.
But he's a cool guy. Away from the whole YouTube stuff and people
he gets a lot of
I met him a couple
unnecessary
years
hate
ago at
online, in my
Cabela's.
opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
He was chill as hell.
We were talking about not really watching like bass tournaments and stuff like that too. Like weirdly enough, like I didn't even have like Wi-Fi until I was a junior in high school. So like I never really grew up like watching fishing YouTube or anything like that. I watch it occasionally now, like as beneficial little things if I'm going somewhere. Like, oh, what are they doing here? But I never got into like following specific people. So like I've seen Alex's videos and stuff, and like I knew how big he was and everything, and I've really enjoyed all the videos I've ever watched that he's put out. But I never like followed him how a lot of people did. So that same thing with like how we were talking about meeting Nick and Brandon, that being like weirdly like I felt that same thing with Alex, like not going into it like, oh my god, like it's Alex. Like even though he is like such a cool dude and like makes awesome content, like it was cool to like be able to meet him in more of like a natural environment and like realize like how cool of a guy he is too. Like I feel because like I haven't been exposed to it because I don't like again follow all of that online YouTube fishing stuff, but it's apparent like him, Guggen, like that whole thing gets a lot of unnecessary hate in my opinion. I know they're not connected anymore, but like that same type of terms type of stuff. And like from getting to know him personally, he's like an awesome, like genuine, super cool guy. Like
loves fishing.
Yeah, I mean like exactly that. Like he's just like one of us. Like he's exactly like nothing else than that. A good dude who like is addicted to fishing, and like that's all he cares about. Like I feel like just by meeting him and seeing that genuine part of him where that is truly what he is, like it's just like natural. Like obviously you like that guy. But Brandon,
What else we talking about?
I don't know. Any other stories from the show today?
Oh yeah.
We got so off topic from the show. I mean, we could just pull up this random one. This is like, there's no point we would probably naturally fit it into conversation anyway. It's bless you.
God bless.
It's just like a weird random story. I went to the bathroom, came out, and was like, Raphael, you gotta hear this.
So the show you're talking about?
Yeah, so in the middle of the show, just went in there, take a piss, and I'm standing in the urinal, and the guy next to me, he's like 2 down from me, he's standing there, like, goes, why isn't this thing working? Like, and he's not peeing, just says that, and like, I didn't even know anyone else was in the bathroom, and I just hear from one of the stalls, I don't know what's wrong with it, ain't got no gas in it. And I just started fucking dying. I literally couldn't even make it up.
Do you think they knew each other?
I don't think so, because that guy was fucking dying too. He's like, you're right. Ain't got no gas in it.
I was like, told me about it. I didn't believe it.
It's fucking hilarious,
It's
bro.
like too of a good story to believe.
Because I was literally ready. It's like, because it took him a second to say it from the stall, so I was ready when he said, like, why isn't this thing working? I was like, damn, this is fucking hilarious. I can't wait to go tell Raphael this dude in the fucking urinal can't pee. And then, like, that happened. I was like, no fucking way. It was hilarious, but I don't think there's anything else crazy. Like, I wish we got a chance to go watch the what's it called? The trough,
Yeah, like the seminar and stuff.
the bass fishing trough.
Yeah,
That would've
they
been
just
fun.
talk like every time we work together, like oh, like 15 minutes a seminar for like different there's like different seminars for different types. It's gonna be on for 15 minutes, and we're just like well, we wish we could go there and see it. 'Cause, like,
And we did slow too, so like it really made
Yeah.
sense for us to go over there. But I mean, you can FaceTime us tomorrow and show us what's going on while we're working.
Yeah, what time do they start?
It's like all throughout the day, right?
It is. Okay.
They're not long.
They have a
Probably
schedule.
the
They have a
road
schedule too. And they have that one thing I give the good dialogue credit to, which is sick, because like their booth is not, they don't sell anything on it. They're just display stuff.
They have comfy carpet.
Padded carpet.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
stand on hard floor.
Oh, okay. That's probably luxurious.
Yeah.
But it is sick, like they have like all the rods and the reel and stuff like that, they carry baits and stuff. And they're doing a daily giveaway for a Daiwa CT.
Today it was a SV though.
Must be
Damn. That's what's up.
Yeah, it's a
It's
giveaway
a
daily.
$200 bait catch.
How do you have to, is it like a raffle?
You have to be able to spell your first and last name, your phone number, and your address, and be able to put a little piece of paper through this tiny slip in this big rotating
Yeah,
thing.
big and rotating.
If you're able to do that, you're
cage.
able to enter into the raffle.
We're getting
Do you think you can?
I think so. I think I can manage.
Hopefully I can win.
We struggled today. We couldn't get it through the little tiny hole. We were like kind of that guy we saw outside the hotel.
Oh yeah.
Well, is that it? Anything else?
The show was cool and everything, like we saw, new bass fishermen and stuff.
Yeah, that was cool too. Like just meeting people like that I know. Like that was the cool aspect of it. Like seeing a lot of people that not even like customers from anglers, just like people in the fishing industry that I know. Seeing them again. Like I saw a couple companies that I know from multiple places across the country, and seeing all my local friends who were coming in, obviously. But then my tournament partner, who I didn't even know was going to be working the show, he's working at the show. So it's cool to see my partner Mike. And if you're checking out anything around the show, Mike's supposed to see if you see his badge anywhere. He's an awesome fisherman, really good person to get some advice from, especially if you're doing anything in the Midwest.
What booth's he at?
I'm not sure what booth he's at, but if you see Mike around, he's a tall. What's yours? What booth? But anyway, Mike is a great guy, so if you have any questions, he's awesome guy to talk to as well. Daiwa booth next to us too, another kid, Joe. I've fished a couple tournaments with him. He's a really nice kid. All the Daiwa reps. We talked about Rick already. I gave him my phone number today. I told him to FaceTime me this morning, so we'll see if we'll get a little FaceTime video from him. See how he's doing.
He's my homie.
Yeah.
Rick is the homie. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude. He gave us Dan. Shout out Dan, one of our co-workers at Anglers. He always wears this foam, like shitty Okuma hat. It's just all like an entire foam front.
Like he put in the washer and dryer, so it's like all deformed.
Yeah, it's a shitty hat. Like Dan loves it for whatever reason, but it's like a shitty hat, honestly.
We all have one of those hats.
Oh, it's a white hat. It's all dirty, though.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you wash it.
Yeah. But Rick always gives him shit because Dan wears it all the time, and he's like, "What are you wearing that like garbage Okuma hat for? Like you need a Daiwa hat." And Dan's like, "I only wear hats if they're foam. Like this hat's so comfy." Like, and so Rick, like they have no foam hats of any of the recent Daiwa ones, so he went and found some old foam Daiwa ones they had, and he brought like 4 of them to the show.
That's
He bring like 3 or
awesome.
4 of them to the
Yeah,
show.
so, cause it's cool because they're actual OGs.
Yeah, the guy we were talking to was like, "Oh, I remember when I designed those."
He's like, well, those are the first ones we made. Like that's
Yeah.
like that. Like,
And we were like talking shit, like Raphael was like, "Oh, did you put them like because it's off to the side?" He's like, "Did you put a space on there so you could put like a greater than sign with the Shimano logo?" We're like, and he's like, "Oh no, it's because Daiwa's on the up and up." And Raphael's like, "No, it looks like it's kind of falling off."
the phone looked like it's sinking like the Titanic.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's funny.
That's hilarious.
So the Daiwa guys are cool. Like, they ran through our shop.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They run a train on every aisle. Like honestly, like, they're bringing people over constantly, and like it's gotten better, but like. I don't think it's hard to do in advance. There's not a lot of coordination between all the booths before the show. So there's a lot of sending people places where people don't have stuff there. So like that's been an issue with them. With sending
But
people.
I know that they've been buying our baits.
Yeah, that too. That's
Like,
true.
the employees there and at the booth Daiwa was coming by, picking all of our new 110 colors because we carry it.
And they're right next to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they stopped by, pick like 6 of them, 5 of them, and just like to tell the coworkers that we had that color. Like no way, come by and just clean us off for this like those new colors we got.
Are you guys already running low on some stuff?
We're out of a bunch of colors
Yeah.
already. Yeah. We're gonna have to like reload on some stuff, I imagine. I feel like we should bring more accessory stuff, like not accessory, but like jig heads and stuff. Because I feel like
Tackle wise.
yeah, so many people when they're buying something, they're like, "Oh, how would you rig this? What would you put on it?" And like I can explain it to you. I can't show you. It's in Palatine if you want to go though.
Right.
And I just like even if it's not like a full run of something, just like one version of a ball head jig, one version of an EWG, one version of this, just so at least even if they're not buying it, like you can at least size it with something and then you can show them then too. Like, and I think that would get them to go to Anglers, even if you had one size. You could be like, hey, 10 minutes down the road, if you go there, we'll give you 20% off your lures only, and you're getting a customer to go in the shop for the first time. Like something like that too. I don't know. We have so much cool stuff there, but it's almost like so many different things that don't really go together. Like,
We have customers like, oh, do you have this here? Like, oh, we don't. We didn't agree to show, but we have a store. And I told him, I give him a business card, and like, we're in Valentine, like, I didn't know you guys were if there's any shops in Valentine. Like we had
That's
no
genius,
clue.
yeah.
So a lot of customers said,
So there is a good aspect to it in that
yeah.
sense.
So I always
You're
just send
getting-
people there and like, oh, like I live in Belvedere, and I remember something nearby me like this. Like I was always have to come this far to the show and stuff to catch stuff and to buy stuff.
Right.
So I don't know Valentine's like I have no idea. Like a lot of customers they never know who you are or where
Right.
we're located,
Right.
and they were shocked when we were in Valentine's. Like, Because it's so close to me.
Yeah, dude.
There's a lot of people that say that. Like we were saying before, like the Mega Bass booth too. Remember like how many people would say that early on? They're like, oh, go stop by the Mega Bass booth. Like not anglers, they call it the Mega Bass booth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
But I mean, it's good business. Like we are getting a lot of people. I just think it would be nice to get those people to also come to the shop then.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right.
Because there is a lot, and I think it's viewed for so many people at the show that people are traveling far, but there is a lot of local people too that don't even know about it. Like,
yeah. Every single person that I've mentioned it to Cabela's, like, we don't have a reel. I'm like, honestly, Anglers in Palatine, right? Ooh. Like, Anglers International Resources in Palatine.
Oh,
They're like, really? There's a bait shop here? I'm like, dude, it's awesome. Like, you're talking about JDM stuff, like, you're talking about Mega Bass. I'm like, bro, you gotta check them out.
The 110 selection too, especially people like Cabela's that come in looking at them. Like, you guys don't have many of them, so like,
you don't have
you're going to be amazed when you see, like you saw the picture you took, obviously, but when you see the full selection of the 110s we got, like, it's not even all of them, and it's a ton of them.
Oh,
Before we like end anything too, the 110 just reminded me we should talk about the pike fishing. Like just a quick overview of that trip. That was fun too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've mentioned it to you at least a little bit, but not like the full story of how that went. If you want, we can start off with that. I feel like we've been talking the whole time.
Yeah. So when was it? Monday this week. It's Friday today. Just to give you guys some context. But yeah, Monday we went out. Me, Randy, and our other buddy Cameron. And we went out actually for the Browns initially. We started in Racine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did fishing up the trips, and we actually got one brown.
A beautiful one too.
A beautiful
big buck
one
brown.
on a spinner, which was super cool. It was our first spinner brown. And then right after that, we decided, because we weren't doing that well up in the route, we decided we weren't even seeing that many fish. Like,
all day. I was telling Cam all day.
And I'm so happy
let's go
he had
do
this
pike.
feeling, because
Dude,
I
let's
was
go do
not.
pike.
I was thrown off. Like, we were just up there. I felt like we were just up at the route, and it looked like the same exact conditions. Like last time we were seeing fish go from hole to hole. Like we weren't seeing any of that. And honest to God, the one that I caught, it seemed like it was a fluke. Like I was doing the same thing.
We didn't see a lot of people catching them too. Like other times,
yeah, there were guys out there. No one
we didn't
was
see
catching them.
even as many fish either too.
No.
I felt like visually we saw a lot of fish the times before too.
It was really an interesting morning, and Randy had the idea, since our buddy Cameron's never caught a northern pike before. He's like, you know what, we should just go. We should send.
So we have enough time, because I feel like that's a bite. Like it's not as much fun, but it's not something I'm as like obsessed with as that trout bite. So it was always something like when I would stop, like it'd be last second or something like that, and like to actually give us enough time to like fish it without like, oh, did we not get lucky like you were talking about because we were only there for an hour, maybe doing the wrong thing, or like is it actually like this is not the right thing to be doing now? So I wanted to like really like, because I've caught that fish there and seen fish there, like see if that's going to be the move. But go on with like what the story was.
Yeah, it was odd. Like we called it at I think 12. I think we were like, you know what, it's just not on here. We might as well go do something different. So we ended up going to
Chicago Harbor.
Yeah, Chicago Harbor, I guess we'll just call it that. And we were just fishing there, and we fished for like 3 hours. You know, at the spot that he had caught his big northern at, and we were pretty stumped. We were like, what the hell?
Yeah, I got followed by one.
Yeah, I guess you did have. That was the only action we got, though, right? It was just that
like
one foul at first. And
actually, that was even later. That was when we came back.
So yeah, we literally didn't see a single fish.
Because Cam was going to go home. Yeah, you're right. You're completely right.
We fished for 3 hours, and we were like, oh my god, are we just going to call it?
And we were trying new spots. So we first, like you said, we first started. You're right. We started at the spot where I caught the one, and then we fished that for like a half hour, and then we bounced around a couple spots. I forgot about that.
and then we were like literally debating. We were both in our trucks. Cameron was in his truck. We were in ours. We were like, what do we do? Are we gonna call it, or are we gonna go back and try for the last half hour of daylight? We're like,
and it was discouraging too.
Remember, we were literally like just about to say, let's go home.
Remember how discouraging it was too, because before that moment, we were fishing that one spot on a new harbor that we've never fished before, and it was kind of shallow, and the opposite bank was super, super steep. And it looked like it was going to be definitely deeper on that side, and
there were docks. It looked like you could go out on.
Yeah, and it looked like a cut that not many people probably fish, like low pressure, like just a really good spot. And we're like kind of discouraged, like we were saying, like we've not caught anything at this point. We're like, looking at it, like let's definitely go over there. I see a little parking lot on maps and drive all the way over there. It's just
And it's
fence.
literally a 10-minute drive too, like all the way around.
Yeah, just to go like across the
Yeah,
little
so-
tiny marina
So
too.
we do the 10-minute drive, both of us get there and we're like, should we call it or should we keep going? Thankfully, we decided to keep
Yeah.
going. And we
It's
went
all locked
back
up,
to-
so we couldn't even fish it. Too,
Yeah,
like-
so we decided we literally could not fish any of the stuff that we thought we could fish. So we drove 10 minutes back, decided to fish for the last half hour, and that was the best decision that we
100%.
made that whole day. Like that was literally, that to me was just, dude.
It
Like,
was so much fun.
oh my god! And when you have that debate whether you should go home or whether you should go back out, just go back out. Like that's what that reminded me again. Is it's just like there's no
Because
reason
if you're
to
debating
debate
it, something in your
Yeah,
gut's telling you
yes.
that you should.
Just go. And as soon as we got there, literally the first cast, or before we started casting, you know, Randy was like, you know what, let's maybe try jerkbaits. And that's exactly what I was thinking in my head. I was like, last time we were all throwing square bills. Let's try something a little different.
Yeah.
We all threw on a jerkbait, and our buddy Cameron's never even thrown a jerkbait before. And so Randy gave him a rundown.
It was
on
actually
how
like, I'll tell this
literally
part was
fish
the
it.
coolest thing. Like, so it was actually, he hooked up on his first cast. So I casted mine before he did, and I'm twitching it. I didn't even, like, I'm working my cadence, and I didn't even teach him, like, anything about how to
Okay,
do
so
it.
you didn't.
Because I've smally fished with him on a jerkbait before, and we've caught a couple of them, but never, like, a specific, like, we're going out here for a jerkbait bite. Like, we've tossed it around occasionally, and I've never really walked him down, like, different things to do with it. So he was just watching me fish it, and all of a sudden he's like, I'm on, dude, I'm on. And then afterwards he's telling me, I'm like, so what cadence were you doing with that? He's like, I honestly didn't know what to do, dude. Like, I just looked at you and you went like thump, thump, and then you waited. So he's like, my first cast, I didn't realize it was like his first like movement with the bait. He cast it all the way out there and goes boop, boop. And he's like, didn't even have to think beyond that. His rod just went whoop, and like he got one. Like, it was so cool. Like, and I think that was like the best bait for that to happen on with him too, because like a jerk bait can go like one of two directions with people. You can either be like extremely confident because like you're working it in a way that fish are reacting and biting it, or you can be working it and like everyone says a jerk bait's great, like I'm not catching fish on it, like what am I doing wrong, like this sucks. And then because of that, it's like the same thing with the square bill. Like you fish it faster, you fish it different, like, and it just snowballs to catching less and less fish because you're not just going back to like, oh, maybe that was a bad day. Like, just keep doing that same thing. It worked out perfect for Cam in the sense, his first two twitches, it worked. So he's like sold on it already. So like that pause he had, he's like, I'm doing that every time. And like, I think because of that happening, like, I think he would have caught him regardless and like got followed. But because of that first bite, he just like was sold on the pause. And that cold water, like once you're sold on that pause and at least a consistent cadence, even if it's not the best one, just a consistent one, like you're gonna be a bit, and that just helped his confidence so much too. And then tell him the story about the one you broke off on. Oh my god, I wasn't even close enough to really see what happened for that. I don't even really know.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really not one to.
He
throw
caught a big one too. Like he broke
baits.
off on a big one, but he caught a big one too.
I caught a nice one. It wasn't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was a big one, especially for Lake Michigan.
I'll call it a big one. We'll pull up a video of the release right here. It's like,
Bet.
it's a sick, like you can see it, like he lifts it up and like, oh my god, it's a good fish. It's definitely
It was
the
an
shoulders,
awesome,
like,
yeah,
it
it was
was a
an
good
awesome
fish.
catch, and I'm super pumped to just know that there are these quality northern pike in numbers that there
yeah.
were, because I'm not kidding. Like 2 minutes after, probably a little longer. I mean, it
I don't
seemed
even
like
remember.
we
Did
had
you
about a
break off?
half an hour of daylight after we swung back to the harbor to fish some more, and I swear in that half hour, we probably saw 5 fish.
You caught the big one in the dark.
Yeah,
You
caught the
broke off
caught the
on
one that I caught, or
sunset.
got the one that I caught at dark. But the one before that, because I think he caught the small one first,
Yeah, that
and
was
then
the first
you
one.
had one that followed you.
Yeah,
a
that was
couple
the,
times.
the
That was a
big one. Yeah,
big-
I'll know if I ever catch this fish too. So hopefully, eventually, in one of these podcasts, we have a picture to put up of this fish. It is a stud, and it has 2 giant lamprey marks on its back right next to each other. So if you, we'll keep this as a receipt. So I got followed by this
Hell yeah.
fish. If we ever catch this, we'll pull this clip with it.
I love
like
that.
was a giant fish, and it was. I hope we catch that fish. But like he was saying, tons of quality fish in where we were fishing.
And so like right after he got followed, I was just obviously like, holy smokes, there's a lot more northern pike in this area than I thought. And I was just kind of, I was working my bait, but I was kind of like, why am I not getting hit? But I'm like, it's just a matter of time kind of thing. I just knew it was kind of like back to that luck thing, and like I just kept doing the same thing time after time, and all of a sudden, literally like just got whacked, just absolutely whacked. And as soon as I felt the eat, I just felt zzz, and I just felt the head shake. And as soon as I felt the head shake, it was off. And that was when I realized like why? After all the fish and lures that I have lost.
Did you have a leader tie on?
No, dude.
We
my
talked
gut
about
was telling me to freaking tie on a leader, and I never did. And I always fish for northern pike with leaders just because I've lost over a dozen different red eye shad just to northern pike.
And if you're
it
throwing a
drives me nuts.
110 too, or like
I was throwing a lucky crab. That's what he.
So you're lucky on that. At least it's half the price.
Yeah, literally 15, $16.
Yeah.
But it was, it was just nonetheless kind of stupid that I wasn't using a leader, because I really wish I would have seen how big that fish was. It felt really big. But not long after that, thankfully, I did end up hooking into that one. We'll post a picture here, and that one actually ate. I was using a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader, which I didn't tell you, but dude,
I did not know that.
That thing got smoked. Like,
was the leader fucked up too?
Yes, dude, that's what I meant to tell you. Like that
I'm
whole
so lucky
entire
on the big
leader
one.
was so frayed up that I can't use the leader again. And that alone was just like, dude, hello, this is like a 35-incher. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to catch a big Lake Michigan
you
pike,
need the leader on there.
yeah, you do. And it's, you live and you learn, and it was just a super cool experience and just a super cool feeling to get, just knowing that there's such good quality pike
Leaders.
quantities.
Leaders
in the
we're doing.
lake.
After
Yeah,
you
we're
told me
doing
that.
leaders. We're doing leaders from now on, I think, for sure.
Because I think I almost had a false sense of confidence with the big one I caught, like catching that on an 8-pound mono with it in his throat, and like, yeah, it broke off, but I still caught it. Like, I feel like it gave me like a sense of confidence where like, eventually, like, it's gonna wear out. It's
And
like,
the biggest thing
like
is,
the
like,
luck thing. Like my luck
yeah.
on that is gonna 100%
and
wear
you
out.
know
That's
how
something
it
you
is.
can't make. Like you can't make your luck better on that. Like,
Dude, and you know how much luck it takes for a fisherman to get a 50-inch northern pike on the end of the line. Like, God willing,
Why
you
do
end up
anything?
getting
Yeah.
a 50-inch giant Lake Michigan stud on the end of your line. Like, why take the chance? You know, like.
I don't know. I've always like part of me still feels this way. Like, it has it in me that like the reason I got bit by that fish is because of that though. And like maybe
and that's another huge,
maybe
like,
that's a debate too, and that's something I have with myself a lot. Is like I honestly feel like I've hooked a lot of like, and there's a lot of people like Dan being one of them, one of my closest friends who like is someone who's like big fish story guy. Like I truly believe there's a lot of big fish that I've hooked and seen and had close to me that I've broke off on that I'm almost fine with, because I truly believe I'll hook up with a fish of that quality again and have a chance of landing it, and I'm just like in that sense maximizing my luck, because I'm gonna have like someone who's throwing a heavy leader, heavy setup, like the thing you're supposed to be doing for it, has maybe a 10% chance of catching that fish, because that's what it's seeing, that's what everyone's seeing. And as soon as it sees that little jerkbait on a light line that it always breaks off, like you are out there enough and hook that fish enough times. Sure, if you're going out there specifically, like do it the right way, because you're like you're saying, you don't want to break off when you hook a big one, but like don't want to be afraid of throwing around small stuff like that, because I think that is a difference factor sometimes, and it only takes being lucky that one time when you're doing that to get that fish in. And like I firmly believe there's a big chance that that fish would have never bit on something that was a lot like beefier setup. And I see that live bait fishing too. Like if you truly play the fish, play the drag, like you can catch a huge fish, and I really don't think you would get bit like on a heavier setup a lot of times, even live bait, anything. Like
No, I
a
think
big
that's
fish is
huge
smart.
thing, yeah.
They're a lot smarter than people give them credit for, like any species, regardless.
100%.
So.
I mean, it's inevitable. The lighter the tackle you've got, the more bites you're gonna get, and that's why it's like it's a fun sport to
it's a give and
Yeah,
take. Like
it's-
everything
yeah,
we
like
talked about
literally.
today, like you just learn from everything you do,
Yeah,
like people you
yeah.
meet, things you do.
And
fish
everybody
catch.
prefers different stuff, you know. Like
Mhm.
he might prefer to go out there with lighter line, and I might prefer to go out there with thicker line. It is
It's all
what it
preference.
is, and
Mhm.
you know,
And being
it'll work out.
open-minded helps a ton with that. Like with what you
Yeah.
said, with the leader, like that changes me now. Like you saying that after that fish, like I'm not rich. I don't want to lose a $25 jerkbait every cast. Like I'm gonna rethink a little bit. Like I'm not gonna be throwing 8-pound mono. I guarantee you that. Like I already regretted throwing mono with that jerkbait. It was tough. That was one of the last things we'll talk about. Like Cameron too impressed the hell out of me. I don't know if I told you this, but he had to take a phone call at the end of the night.
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh, I had my my bait was like wrapped up or something, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta untangle all this and then retie it because it's frayed now. And he's like, oh, just grab my rod, you can use it. And I took it, and it's the brown trout rod he uses for crankbaits, which is awesome for it. I cast it all the way out there, and I'm fishing it, and I'm like whacking the shit out of it, and I'm like, I don't feel anything, like nothing at all, and I'm like whack, whack, and it's just like feels like I'm hitting like it's a sponge. I'm just like it's just straight moderate, just like soft action. Like it feels like I'm almost hooked into a stump and the rod's just bending. I don't feel shit, and I'm like, he was on him, like, and I don't know how the hell he was doing. He was using a 7.6 medium light moderate with a jerkbait with mono. I'm like, that is the
Yeah, you
least
can't feel
sensitive,
anything.
least reactive combo you could possibly have, and he was catching them.
Dude,
So,
I love the
I
fact
haven't even mentioned this to him, so Cam, if you're watching this, once you get a jerkbait rod in your hands, you are dialed. Like if you were able to like actually have a sense of what the hell you were doing with that, like you were good. Like I was very, very impressed by him with that, honestly. That was like,
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a secret weapon for you, buddy.
or he's just not gonna, he's gonna hook into one and like have that strength in the rod, snap, snap, snap. One of the two things gonna happen to you, Cam. We'll find out.
Either
You're
way,
either gonna,
you're gonna get bit.
you're either gonna be the most dialed jerkbait fisherman in the world probably after using that rod, or you're gonna be like $500 down on jerkbaits. Stop by Anglers International, pick up some one time.
Yeah, I'm not.
We'll restock.
Yeah, we'll get some more. I feel like we pretty much talked about everything.
Yeah, I think this was an awesome episode. Let us know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Different location, but
Yeah, shout out to Raphael for joining us
yeah,
today.
shout
It
out
was
Raphael.
awesome.
Appreciate
We'll
it.
put up 3 pictures of some big fish that I've caught with Raphael,
Hell
and
yeah.
I don't know. Have you fished with Raphael a ton?
I've fished with him a few times.
We'll put up some big pictures of some fish we've caught with Raphael.
Hell
Shout
yeah.
out Raphael with his Instagram then too.
Yeah, sweet. See you guys next one.
Yeah, have a good one.
Peace out, guys.
Nice woman.